We're officially a go.
We rolling?
Yeah.
My name is Brandon. I'm the operations manager here at Marr's Heating.
I'm Jacob. I'm the owner.
And this is our podcast called Whispers from the Crawl. Let's get into it. We'll have to create an intro or something like that.
We'll edit that out.
All right, let's get into it. I'm excited. This is number uno.
Yeah, it's fun.
This is the very first one ever that we're going to look back on and say, what the fuck were we doing?
We talk all the time. Now we're just going to record it and put it on the internet.
All right, boss man. I want you to tell me a little bit. When we were trying to get this idea off the ground, we were kind of playing with things to kind of show behind the curtains of what we do, and coming up with the name alone took us about a week. What were some of the other options that we were thinking of that we vetoed?
Boy, you're asking the wrong guy. Short-term memory issues. I think Duck Dynasty was one we came up with. I think that was a little tacky. What else did we come up with? I don't know.
I like the hot air, cold laugh.
Oh, hot air, cold laughs. That's right. Yeah. I don't think that would have done as well. Whispers from the Crawl makes sense. I mean, we're in a ton of different houses, lots of crawl spaces, creepy crawlers down there, hear lots of things, don't want to be there. So for our industry, it makes sense.
Yeah, I was going to say, why does our industry resonate so strongly with the shitty crawl space?
I mean, everybody knows that's the worst part of the job. So everybody can agree that going down into a crawl space and there's rat shit everywhere and you don't want to be there and you can barely fit. I mean, I've gotten stuck in multiple crawl spaces in the back end and you start to panic. So just everybody knows that's the spot you don't want to be. So it's only fitting that we would use that in our name.
So you started in HVAC under Ken Marr and Doug Marr. And how old were you? You were like 11 when they put you to illegal work?
No, I think legally I started working at 13. We should check the labor laws before we post this, but yeah, 13. Yeah. And I think it was just in the summers I was looking for a job. I always wanted toys and then didn't have any money. So I think I started with a gentleman that worked for us for 20 some years, and all he did was duct systems and gas piping. So it would either be new construction, or the worst of that would be full retrofit replacement of duct systems and gas piping. So I immediately got exposed to what bad crawl spaces looked like. And I actually asked Dad about this the other day because we had a family dinner, and he said, no, I would legitimately find the worst ones I could so that I could just see what you were made of, you know?
Good luck.
And he said, I knew there's a kid here that could fit pretty much everywhere. And that's kind of a strategical advantage in that situation like that. Yeah. So, and I remember hating every second of it, but now I look back and I'm glad I did it. So,
fought a rat or two, survived.
Lots of rats. Yeah.
Was Doug doing new construction when he started? Was he?
Doug did a lot. So the company started as just sheet metal.
Yeah.
Really, he was interested in sheet metal fabrication, and that's what he did commercially for Hershig's back in the day. That was a company around here. And so he started in sheet metal, and then Grandma was kind of smart and realized that you can't make any money in sheet metal. Yeah. So then he started installing furnaces, and really he did a lot of commercial work to start. That's kind of like where you get started, and it's nice because if you're a one-man show, you get one job and you get to work for weeks and weeks, and you don't have to be out spending time bidding projects all the time. So kind of started there, and I think he slowly started to realize that the residential space was a little bit more profitable, and I think he liked dealing with people more than he liked being out on a job site. And the bigger the project you take on, the more people you need. And he, I think, was under the firm philosophy that if he kept tight control, less people, less overhead, that he would have a better time in business, and he did.
So
he did that for a long time.
He liked the people element, and then you have Ken come in,
Yeah,
who is the silent mechanic that doesn't like people.
I think Ken loves people. I
agree.
Misconception, but he's not a fantastic communicator. Anybody that's dealt with Ken loves him because he will tell you exactly what's on his mind.
Yeah, there's no lying, there's no bullshit, straight from the gut.
Nope, no filter. He'll just tell you exactly what he thinks, and the people that are loyal Ken customers are still our customers because of his brutal honesty.
I would agree.
I think the story that resonates with me the most in that regard is a gentleman that's still one of his best friends, but he met giving an estimate on a job, and the complaint was that he had allergy issues and he wanted to get that dealt with. And the story goes from him that Ken walked in and said, "Okay, do you have any animals?" He said, "Yeah, got some cats." And Ken just said, "Huh, get rid of the cats." So that, but like, you know, obviously he ended up offering like some filtration solutions and all that, but he was being actually honest. Like, you need to get rid of the cats if you want to deal with this problem. The guy thought it was so funny. They've been friends for 30 years.
Which guy
now.
is that?
His name's Bruce.
Bruce.
And he actually ended up working here as a salesperson about 10 years ago now. Bruce was with us for a couple of years. So
still in like the 2014 era, you're saying? Oh, wow.
Yep.
Huh. What's he doing now?
I'm not sure what he's doing now. I don't know.
Like zero experience in the HVAC and then...
No, they were great friends, and Ken said, "Hey, I need some help." And that was before I came along.
Trust.
Right before I came along, I think. And he just trusted him. He knew he could think on his feet. And we basically, I think he just taught him the trade, and he's a great guy. But there's stories like that all over.
All over the place. When did your grandparents buy that place?
Sometime in the 70s. I think it went up for sale. And I think they were going to build a mobile home park right across the street. And I think Grandma really liked the land. Like, it's just a beautiful piece of land.
Couldn't get any better.
And so she thought, well, I mean, if we have a shot at getting that, we should just pursue that now, because why not? So,
sorry, what year was that? Oh, 70s. Jeez.
Because this building, I think, was bought, this piece of land in the building that we're in now, I don't know, I want to say 1963 to 64, somewhere in there. And, well, maybe it was 65. I know the doors opened in 65, but they did, I mean, every weekend, from my understanding, they had a travel trailer that they parked out back.
Yeah.
And they lived in that while they were fixing this building. And this building used to be, I hear stories all the time, it used to be an auction barn.
Oh, so it had a whole past before
here. This building was built, I
didn't even know that.
The main structure of the building was built in the 40s, I think. And it was an auction barn, and then I think before that it was a junkyard. So like that, there's still remnants of what used to be a grease trough in the fabrication shop down there. There's like one piece of flat concrete that the shear sits on. Oh. That used to be a grease pit. So yeah, building's got some history, and they obviously, you know, remodeled it. This upstairs that we're in now wasn't there, so that was added by them. And then we've remodeled, I mean, I don't know how many times we've remodeled this building now over the years, but a lot. And this is obviously the newest remodel.
Him building the second floor, he hired that out. He did it.
Yeah. And yeah, every bit of work that you can, back then, it was very different. I mean, you like today, specialization, I'm way better off, obviously, hiring a contractor to do specialized work. Back then, I mean, money's tight, you're just starting out a business, you got a young family.
I can't imagine.
And you're just a worker. Yeah. Like, that's what you do. You just go spend every weekend working. And so he did that for years.
You should pick his brain sometime if he put everything on pause, because he would have had to. He would have had to put the main business on pause to get this thing done.
I don't know. I think he just worked out of it. I think he just made it happen. I don't think it was pretty. Like, I don't think any part of starting this place was easy or pretty. I don't know.
This is going to be the fun part of the podcast where we have stuff come up. I've had Jaron call me twice, so I got to see what's going on here.
Put him on.
As a team. Oh, 1 second here. Hey, Jaron, it's me and Jake. What's going on? Yep. And just temper them that we're on this priority one for Mars right now.
Cool.
All right. Thanks, buddy.
Sorry to bug you during your meeting.
No, you're good. Appreciate it.
All right.
All right. Bye.
Love Jaron.
I love Jaron too. I hope he watches this and because it's such like the phone's never shut off. But I had Matt, one of our other senior techs, basically say to me, he asked a few questions about AeroSeal and everything this morning, and he's like, by the way, have a good weekend. And I started laughing because in my head I was like, we still got like 8 hours on the day. What do you mean good weekend?
Yeah.
You keep cranking. And then I looked through his jobs, and he's got like install warranty and stuff like that. But if one of our boys calls me twice, I get a little nervous. So that's why
you have to take it.
Yeah, you got to take it. Always. So I had a fun one to ask you because this is my personal favorite thing to chat about, especially when we interview people, which you and I interview people all the time, is one thing that you did that absolutely blew up in your face. Anything you can think of. And that's why I started laughing, because us starting a podcast, neither one of us know how to do this.
No.
Pure passion for having fun while doing, prominent things in this lane, this category of trades. And like everything we do, it's either knock it out of the park, comfortable, or it blows up in our face and we just have to sit there and quite literally take it.
I mean, I've definitely lost money. I think nothing that was like, massive public, like, I mean, we did have that one incident that we'll talk about that. But no, I definitely didn't know how to price things correctly when I was younger.
Yep.
And didn't understand how this game worked. So, I gave away some systems at below our cost. I mean, I've been there, done that. And even now with our promotions that we run, we still at times give away systems below our cost, but we're, we have a yearly budget and it's spread out over the year and we understand our numbers, and I didn't at all. And so, I'd say just shooting from the hip and not knowing what your numbers are and when you can give promotions and when you can't, and when you can afford it and when you can't. So.
Everyone always seems like you're good at shooting from the hip. I think everyone feels the same way, or at least I do. I don't want to talk for both of us, but you're like, nope, I'm good, I'm great. And then after you're like, oh, I did not anticipate this, and that.
No, and then I, you can try to account for all factors. We did run one promotion. It was a financing promotion, and I thought that we would get X amount of people using the financing, and it ended up being double that. So that one hurt. Financially, that one really hurt. But you learn. We've been in business for 60 years this year, so
60 years, man.
Yeah, we're not going anywhere. But lessons learned hard.
Yeah,
those are the best ones. Move on.
You got to tell the story about when Ken wasn't too sure what to do for marketing. So then he had the one that directly called out our competitors on the radio ad.
Oh, yeah. That was a mistake. I forgot about that. I didn't do that. I wasn't here then. But no, that was an idea of, basically it was the ad was small guy versus big guy. And at that time, I think there were 6 people in the company. So we couldn't run that ad today anyway, but yeah, and it used the names of the competitors in the ad, which wasn't his idea. The person that sold the radio spots, that was their idea, and they were adamant that we should do that. And I know how he operates, so I know for a fact that he would have just went, well, that seems a little aggressive, but okay. I know how that conversation would have gone, and then he said, the minute it aired, that day, he got phone calls from other owners hey, what are we doing?
Hey, what are you doing?
He's like, see, I knew that this was going to happen. And then so he went back and modified the ads and changed it. And I would never do that, right?
No,
but
no, there's just no.
But you don't know, back then, I mean, the only marketing that we did was maybe there was a sign on the truck and the phone book.
Yep.
Right. So even buying radio was a new thing. And so you have a professional telling you that you should do this thing. Yeah. Again, lessons learned hard, right?
Yeah.
Never do that.
No.
Never sling mud at the competition, because we are lucky because we live in an area where we don't have bad competition. Like, I study HVAC companies in the US, and there are markets in like Florida and California and Colorado where there's just hacks out there, and like we're all competition, but we're all like good at what we do. And we drive each other to get better, and that's just a way different dynamic than most places, I feel like.
Yeah, for sure.
It's a small town.
It's a small town. I'd add some salt to that statement, because I think you're only as good as your employees and your weakest link. And I think
we're still better.
We see so much riffraff floating around town, but I think that's always my hard part. I had a guy I was following home, quite literally was this 2 days ago on the motorcycle, and he had a black Ford F-150, and in the back window it says "God AC" with a question mark.
Yep.
No logo, branding, anything on the truck, and all I could think about is like, who is a person who brings them in and be like, I'm gonna get a good value out of this, good deal, right? What's your name? Tyler? Okay.
Yeah.
Just bloody terrifying.
Yeah, you never know. You never know.
I don't know. It's a tricky one.
I would say there's a lot of good work and there's a lot of good mechanics in the companies around here, but the consistency, like we are after consistency. So everything from the ground up is built for how do we control and measure every job to make sure that we're putting out work that we can stand behind. And so I think that's the difference. It really takes a lot of infrastructure and controls and learning lessons to be able to have that built out and to have the management to support that.
Yeah.
And if you don't, it is truly like throwing darts. Like, you don't know what your people out in the field are doing, and that's a scary place to be.
I think you even understate it when you use the word infrastructure. When I came to this business, I mean, I told you that, but I could not believe the amount of components that go into a custom. You have custom fabrication, home renovation, building code principles. There's an element of science to HVAC.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it, because anyone can have a building with some garage bays and some tools, but good luck actually putting it all together and coming out on the other side being profitable, consistent, making sure that the customer couldn't be in a better place as far as a longevity of system when we're aiming for hitting 20-year marks.
Yeah, and that it works, and whatever you do in that house, they're going to tell their neighbors, right? So you're either going to grow your company based on the work you do, or you're going to tank it.
Yeah.
Those are really the only two options. So you want to do it right, then you gotta, there's no rules of thumbs for HVAC. Everything needs to be done by the book, and it's incredibly difficult to do. I can see why most don't, because it's incredibly hard.
Well, I always think too, like you're very much like me, where have a hard time passing off. Like you expect this level of care and just have these utmost high expectations, and then to pass that to someone else, as I think where a lot of companies struggle. Is like you always have the guy who maybe started the company, he could have been a rock star, or maybe he was just sick of his current position or something. But then to have the fourth guy below him execute things to the standard you uphold.
Right.
Like, how did you do that? And especially when you were young, too. I can't imagine telling guys 4 times your age that...
again, really hard. I mean, it's actually pretty simple. You have to write books. So, I just started writing books. Here's our standard for this. Here's our standard. So, operating manuals, checklists, and it gives you something to point to hold people accountable. Yeah. So then it's really easy. And then if somebody can't be held accountable, they don't get to be here anymore.
Yep.
So it's really a simple equation, but it's hard to execute because it took my weekends for years because I couldn't, sit there and write manuals and design flow charts for how we were going to do every single job and create a standard during the workday. Because I was out in the beginning, I was installing. I was one of the 2 installers here. And so every weekend doing that. And it was I just remember thinking, I want to design this so that as we grow, we're not struggling.
Yep.
And I think most companies where they go wrong is they get sales and marketing figured out.
Yep.
They explode, and then the quality of the work declines and they burn their whole market.
Yeah.
Because they can't, it's like climbing two different ladders. We talk about that all the time.
Yep.
You can climb the ladder of sales and marketing, but if you're not, the quality of the work and the expectations aren't met, then
Yep.
you're done. So I was always under the firm expectation that I don't care if it takes me a few years to do this before we grow. I'd rather get that done first.
Yep.
And then we just, like you and I, we interview people all the time. We hire like-minded individuals, people that want to do good work, people that are here for the right reasons.
Yep.
And it's really simple. Are you going to do things the easy way or the right way?
Yep.
And if you're an easy way guy, you'll get found out.
Yep.
And it's a beautiful thing now because I don't even have to sniff that out. People out in the field tell me somebody's not working
Someone's
out.
up to snuff or not.
Yeah. So, and then that's just a culture. At that point, you've developed a culture that works, and your customers get the benefit of that. We get the benefit of that. We get to be a sustainable, profitable company that gets to employ, a lot of people, and that's how that works. But
Nope.
it was a long answer.
Well, no, but that is the truth. This is one of the few businesses I've ever, as a guy who studies businesses every day, total business nerd, the idea of the ladder. So you can only, build this side so much, and then you have to answer it with, it could be something like square footage of space. And then the next thing, it's like, okay, we're booked out to November in our aerosol duct cleaning category. Do we get another truck? It's like, okay, we do this. Now we got to hire 2 staff to maintain and manage it.
It's constant chicken or the egg.
It is, and there's so few, in my opinion, there's so few companies like this. Like typically you step into a business, it's like, yeah, if you blow the doors off sales, you can make more of the widget tomorrow. Like that's typically not that hard. The sales and marketing side's harder, whereas ours, it's keeping that real refined outcome.
Yep.
What the customer expects is the outcome we design, and then all the variables that come into that.
Well, and the seasonality of this business that's the hardest part. Like if you had a linear or a flat curve of revenue stream every month, like manufacturing, which I don't know, you pick an example, but with us, I mean, if it's not cold or it's not hot, and especially we're not Texas here. Like we live in a pretty moderate climate, so not dealing with we're dealing with those shoulder seasons. Like my goal is to never lay anybody off. Like I really try to run a business where we're not laying people off during slow season. So
we've crushed that.
We've done really, really well at that, and I'm super proud of that. But you have to design your entire company around that prospect, and that takes an immense amount of work to elevate your sales in the shoulder season and keep from burning people out when you have work. So it's hard.
Yeah, put that thing in cruise control. No matter what the year does,
it's very hard.
Minimizing burnout, all that fun stuff that we know all too well in this industry. I just think it bleeds from the top. Like when you talk about Doug, that's the part that blows my mind is him building the second floor of this building, which I didn't know that till today, that he did that himself while keeping cash flow for the business running.
Yeah.
Because that was very much when, I studied you before you and I ever even met, before I came on it. And I told you that. That was the thing that stood out to me was he's making YouTube videos and I can see it's dark in the windows of the background.
Yeah.
And it's like anyone who's ever had to go down entrepreneurship, that journey, everyone knows it's like, okay, you have your core hours where you're doing your day job, and then the next 3 hours you're putting out fires for God knows what, and then at the end you're like, okay, now I got to keep this machine going with marketing since accounting's finally finished, figured out the bug and why payroll's not going smoothly. You got the guy in the back yelling because the machine's not working and it's got to be ready for 8 a.m. tomorrow, and it makes you the person you are today.
Yeah,
I think you very much got that from Doug. Ken had to do it.
I think Ken definitely, like when he
resourceful.
When Doug and Joan were just going to close the doors and shut, because there was no prospect for buying the business, and Dad wasn't interested really at the time, and I think he was doing commercial real estate, and I think he just out of nowhere decided, hey, I'm gonna take over the business. So he drove back up here and he took it over. And I do think it was kind of in shambles, not because they operated a business that was in shambles, but because they had been doing it for 30 years. They knew they were at the end. Why reinvest and buy new trucks? Why put a bunch of money into the building?
That's stage 2. Yeah.
And so he really, like, what he describes to me was every morning a transmission would break and he'd be under a vehicle fixing a transmission just to be able to work.
No one knows what that's like. That's the part that I don't know. I have great respect for anyone in any industry that had to, because no one sees it.
No.
Everyone sees the glamour side, like, oh, nice truck.
Must be nice, yeah.
Yeah, and it's like
it's taken years and years and every weekend to just get to the point where we're at now, which is a great spot to be. We're growing and doing great things, and customers are happy, and technicians are happy, and we've got great field staff. So, but yeah, a lot of work.
You don't even know how far you've come until I was thinking about it last weekend when I went the entire weekend without a single thing hitting my work, my phone work related.
Yeah.
Whole weekend.
Yeah.
From Friday at 6 o'clock till Monday I came in, and we kind of just take it for granted, like, oh, you have a good weekend, you good? And then like after it clicks, I'm like, 1 year ago, I'd wake up to a message, and then I get a question. My phone's been blowing up this entire podcast, but that's nothing new. That's all fun stuff.
Mine doesn't, because I delegated all that to you.
I got poor Liam's by himself today, and he asked me to delete something off his invoice because he didn't have.
He'll be okay.
He'll figure it out. But yeah, just the little details. But I think the coolest part about it is, don't get me wrong, the stress and everything, it stacks up in life. But don't you get like this sense of calm that like no one can fuck with you? I think that's the coolest part, is when you have all eyes facing you. You don't even mind anymore, because it's like there's nothing that you can say to me that I haven't gone through once, heard 3 times.
Yep.
I think that's like.
Yeah, there's no replacement for going through hell.
There isn't.
No.
100%.
No, you go through it and then you're done, Yeah. And yeah, it's actually really, I think my favorite part of this job is the young guys.
Yeah.
That I call them young, but they're my age, but they're
the
new to the
throes.
industry, and they're going through it, and I just laugh, like, they're in the moment, they're like, this is, everything's falling apart. This is crazy. I've never seen this before. And I just laugh because I think it's funny, because been there, done that, man, and it'll all be okay. Like, and that's the reality, is as long as you do the right thing, everything's fine.
Yeah.
And there are going to be times where everything blows up in your face, and you just got to kind of dust it off and keep going.
Yeah, take your lickings and stand back up. Yeah, and I think there's a lot of people, at least I've watched in my life, they'll just straight up avoid that. They will avoid that pain, that discomfort. And I think you and I resonate so strongly with each other, because it's kind of like...
Run to it.
Run to it.
Run to it.
The quicker you solve it, overcome, figure it out, design around it.
Well, and it's
right
practice.
past.
The more you grow, the faster these problems come at you, and the better you are at solving them.
Yeah.
That's how you get to grow a company the right way without bleeding. And I think there's tons of examples of companies that don't grow the right way, and it goes wrong. And I think that you and I are totally on the same page, that we're just not willing to accept that. Like, if it got to that point where we're not doing the work the way that it needs to be done, or we're not treating customers the way that they should be, like, that plug's being pulled, that's not happening.
And just the whole willing to jump in rogue, like, something's going wrong, I'm gonna drop everything I have, jump in, get it straight.
Yeah.
The guys who are in the throes of it, or gals in the case, watch what's going on, and instantly they have that life lesson forever. Like, every single time we deal with a weird one, I find that I'm like, you kind of tell the team, like, hey, that's fine, don't worry about it for a second. You deal with it in front of them and be like, okay, in the future, all you have to do is prevent that hurdle, come around this way. And
they don't do it twice.
No, and that's the cool part, because every single thing, each person just gets stronger. We have such great retention and culture here at Marr, just because everyone wants the same thing. And I think that's my favorite part is everyone's willing to learn here. I think the company's dying at any given place you've ever been to the moment people don't want to learn.
Well, I think people, if you're a culture that your people can't make mistakes freely,
Yeah.
you're done.
Yep.
Like I love mistakes. Mistakes are controlled mistakes, obviously, but that is the best lesson. And
It is.
You'll never get, like, if you make a mistake, you're never going to get me yelling at you.
Yep.
Most of the time I'm going to laugh. Most of the time we're going to draw out a plan to make sure it never happens again, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes we'll have a meeting about it with the rest of the team to share information, but it's not, it exposes weakness. That's what a mistake is.
I
right?
love that too. There's so few companies you can work at where drop the ego at the door, and then as a team we're going to say, okay, guys, this is what so-and-so came across Thursday afternoon at 5 o'clock when they're trying to rip home. This blew up in their face. We're going to talk about it as a team, not to embarrass or poke fun at whoever. And then the entire team, I love that. That is my favorite part about working here, is that no one wants that for each other. So everyone kind of bands together and tries to learn. And because, yeah, that's, in my opinion, I'd rather watch a different guy make a mistake and then all of us look backwards and be like, ooh, okay, bingo. We're going to change that process right now.
Yep.
Never see that again, and then the entire team understands why. I mean, I think you can probably name 100 examples of,
Yep.
you're like, no, we do it this way, and then instantly like, oh, that comes back to bite real quick.
Yeah.
So as I'm saying this out loud, I have like 3 things I got to tell to guys that I forgot in the system designer meeting, as far as just little things like I forgot to talk about. Yeah, the PSE, the rebates and everything like that. So
yeah, in this game, I mean, our whole job is basically to design systems to minimize variables that'll minimize mistakes, and then you hire good people on top of that, and you're off to the races. But there's never going to be no mistakes. What we do is incredibly difficult. Every house is different. Every system is different.
yeah,
Every job is custom, and infinite variables. So you eliminate the variables that you can, and you hire good people.
control what you can. Correct. Yeah, that's my biggest thing, is instincts. It's so hard to find someone that'll have good instincts when it counts, and all you can do is kind of hire a good heart, train the head.
Yep.
Try to get them up to speed, expose them to how you handle things. I remember when I first started working with you, it's like, I know I could handle this, but I'll tell you what, if you got 5 minutes, I want to see how you proceed with this, and then I'm just going to implement that right after. And that's everything, right? Speed and implementation in a smart way. But I'm excited about this, and I'm excited to get our beautiful sign. This was handmade by our very dear friend Kevin at Signpost. He wanted to give us a practice layout before he makes us the real one, but we're like, why wait? This is what it's all about, right? Why wait till things are perfect?
Yeah, we don't care.
No, I'd rather just absolutely start running, rolling, learn, and then at that point it's like, okay, this will probably be a polished, beautiful setup. Even when you look around where we are, this is my favorite part about this is, multi-million-dollar HVAC company, and we're going to do a podcast on 2 couches in the back storage room. This is what it's all about. So
I love it.
I get excited for this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Cool, man.
Okay.
Podcast number 1 in the books.
Yeah.
You excited?
Yeah. Do I look excited?
What year are we going to watch this and laugh and smile?
I think 2028.
2028.
Yeah.
We're going to watch this.
And thank God those guys didn't know anything.
Gosh, my belly looks so much better.
Yeah. No, mine's gonna look better in 2028.
Hey.
You're gonna go the other way.
I'm gonna go the other way for sure. This is gonna be the most amount of hair. Actually, I take that back. I'm going to Turkey. I'm getting a hair transplant. You heard it here first. That's why this podcast, if you like this podcast, please, this is as it say the YouTubers, like and subscribe. We need some extra money to pay for my hair transplant and Friday night dinner. It's a safe way to say it there.
Yeah.
I'll say it the safe
I'll
way.
just wear a hat.
Same hat.
Save the viewers some money. I'll just wear a hat.
No. We need. We want your attention, and we want to be part of the community. We don't want your money. That's nothing to do with this. We just want to if you watch this and like this content, you probably know what it's like being in the trades, or maybe you're an entrepreneur. We're just going to talk about all the stuff we're dealing with because neither one of us wants to go see a therapist and pay for it.
That's true.
So here we are.
That is
This
true.
is what we're going to do.
Yeah. All right.
Guys, have a great weekend. We'll see you soon.